Hello everyone, Fluffy Kathy here. Welcome to another episode of Cinderella Phenomenon, where everything's just fine. Everything's just fine. Everything's fine. Actually, I should probably spell it. I just spell it a different way. Ryn. Catherine. There we go. There we go. Before we begin, don't forget to comment, leave a like, and hit subscribe button with your tongue, cause why not? Please, just keep going, please. I don't really want to go through all of this again. I'm barely recovering from the last episode of where we killed Karma. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm just not ready. Honestly, I'm just not ready, and I've already forgotten some of the voices because it's been a while now, and oddly, I think it might be better that way. Why? Why, Claude? Why must you die? Why must you have died? Where do I go? Last time we went right. This time we go left. Why? Let's just keep skipping because we know this is where they save us. And let's just keep going. Let's just keep going, please. I have no question, really. I'm just recovering. Why? Why must the good ones die? The only one left standing at the moment is Rod, which is Catherine's stepbrother. Is that how you truly feel about me, Min? Because I care about you. Even though it doesn't look like it. I care about you. Okay? Just stay quiet, okay? Rumple was the first one we helped after all, Catherine. You know what hurts me more is the fact that I, as a person who's playing this game, remembers, but yet Catherine doesn't. That's what is more like impactful for me. The fact that I remember but she doesn't. Let's go to Rod. We're gonna do his route anyway. And I'm gonna have to give him the best, terrible Batman voice. Uh, oh, that's right. We never talked to Rod. Uh, Rod must sense my eyes on him because the minute he walks in, he turns to look at me. His expression is as cold and unmoving as always. He pointedly leaves the tavern area and enters the reception. I follow after him. I told you to find some. Oh, what's my best terrible Batman voice? I'm Batman. I told you to go find someone else. What can I do to make you stop hating me? What? You said that whenever I had done to you or your family was bad. So if I reverse that, I might get a good deed. You truly don't understand how goodness works, do you? I would not be asking you if I did. Rod closes his eyes and rubs the back of his neck. He looks thoughtful but also irritated. I intend to break my curse as soon as possible, and I will do whatever it takes. And it seems to me that the easiest way to achieve a good deed is to fix the supposedly bad things I have already done. So are you going to help me or not? Gerard? Tell Lady Parfait I will see her another time. And yes, I smoke a lot. That's why I sound like this. No, not really. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. It's actually my little pet rabbit. That's good. This is gonna be a fun voice to do, but it's also gonna hurt. Rod leaves the room without answering my question. I ball my hands into fists, and he calls me the cruel one. I guess you're both cruel together. Okay, let's just skip. Okay. Okay, and now we get to pair up with someone. Since we already did Karma, died. Claude, Karma slash Claude died. Rumple slash Chewy died. Let's see if we can make it a triple. Can we make it a turkey? You know, in bowling, if you get 3 strikes, it's called a turkey, for those who didn't know. I will ask Rod if he will pair up with me. I know we do not have a good relationship. Rod has spared no effort in telling me how cruel I have been to his family. But I feel that rectifying whatever mistakes I have made with them might be an easy way to get 3 good deeds. Oh, selfish, but smart. Just to tell him. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. But Catherine, didn't he tell you that he didn't want to break his curse? Yes, but that may not be the whole truth. He is still reluctant to break his curse, despite all the advice I have offered him. Perhaps you will be able to encourage him where I could not. I do not care if he does not want to break his curse. I only need him to help me remedy the supposed bad things I have done to his family. I believe that will be the easiest way to break my curse. But the only problem is that I rarely see him here. He is usually at the palace. In order for this arrangement to work, I will need to be in the palace. I, for one, think this is a terrible idea. What if? Dolores' voice trails off. She averts her gaze to the floor, her expression a mixture of anxiety and solemn considerations. What if what? Is there something I should know? Both the witches and the fairy just stare at me silently. After a few moments, Parfait speaks. You would be far away from us, princess. We would not be able to assist you. Witches could be lying in wait for you, knowing that you're the true crown princess of Agiela. They might seek to use you for their own purposes. What sort of purposes? Why would the witches be after me in the first place? Many of them have been corrupted by the Taram Barum. Darkness has invaded their hearts, making them bitter. Many of them simply want to see the fairy tale curses continue on undisturbed. This is all just speculation, but it's better to be safe rather than sorry. What would you have me do? Water. Delora? I have an idea. I think we can get her into the palace and make sure that someone is looking out for her. How? Yeah, how? Just trust me. Tomorrow, the Ice Princess will return to her palace. Thank you. Delora, I know you cared about me in the end. I know you loved me. I have a bad feeling about this. Who cares? We're going back to the palace. Hey, we are in a maid's outfit. This cannot be happening. Don't dilly-dally. The princess will soon be awake and expecting her new maid. I close my eyes and suppress the urge to groan. How is it that Delora was able to turn me into Emma's personal maid? She thought this would be funny, did she? Well, I didn't make her pay for this. I expect you not to be late again. We have very strict rules on how the palace staff should behave. I'm not sure how Delora managed this. She told me she was going to cast a spell on me and that it would be over as soon as I opened my eyes. I closed my eyes, and sure enough, when I opened them, I found myself here in a maid's outfit. What did she do? The maid continues to babble at me. How annoying. I pretend to listen. I pretend to listen to her as she leads me through the palace hallways. Emma and Rod's chambers are located here. Oh, we come to a halt when Emma suddenly appears from around the corner. Your Highness? The maid ducks into a neat curtsy. Emma's eyes meet mine. I tense as I wait for any signs of recognition from her. But she only gives me a curious look as if wondering who I am. She clearly does not recognize me. The maid suddenly reaches back and pulls me at my shoulder, forcing me into a bow. You are in front of the Crown Princess of Aguila. Show some respect, girl. My apologies, Your Highness. She is new and clearly needs to be taught some manners. Excuse me? Oh, please. There's no need for that. What is she trying to achieve by pretending to be kind to a palace maid? Who is she trying to fool? Herself, probably. Your Highness, this is your new personal maid. Emma glances at the maid, looking confused. Why do I need a personal maid? It is by the king's orders, princess. Emma turns to look at me again. What's your name? Uh, she is talking to you, girl. I scowl at the maid before facing Emma. I cannot believe I have fallen so low that I am now being ordered around by a maid. Catherine, spelled correctly this time. It's nice to meet you, Catherine. I hope we can get along, girlfriend. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so much fun with this voice and the Batman voice. I'm gonna have fun. When I do not respond, Emma's face falls. I I was just heading to breakfast with my family. Of course, Catherine will escort you to the dining hall. I raise my eyebrows at the maid, irritated. There's no need for concern. Like, I can get there on my own. I breathe a sigh of relief. I am not here to babysit her. The maid leans forward and whispers something in my ear. I don't know how it is that you landed this position, but you owe the royal family your diligence and respect. If you continue to show disrespect, I will have a word with the king. The maid pushes me forward so that I am forced to stand next to Emma. Oh dear. She will escort you to the dining hall, Your Highness. Her job requires that she follows you everywhere in case you require assistance with anything. But it's almost time for breakfast, Princess Emma. Emma frowns at me and looks at me. Why are you frowning, girl? I'm like, sorry. What is she apologizing for? Good morning. Good morning. It seems that you have met your personal maid. The king's eyes widen as soon as he spots me. You look familiar. Does he recognize me? I feel a little tremble in my heart as I consider that hope. Are you not the girl who came to the gates before? I deflate with a soundless sigh. He remembers me, as the peasant. This is the first time I am meeting you as Emma's personal maid. What's your name? Catherine. That is a lovely name. That's the name you gave me. We are glad to have you here, Catherine. The king gives me a warm smile. The softness of his gaze makes me angry. He never treated me so kindly when he remembered me as his own daughter. Emma takes her seat while I stand at the walls beside the other maids and butlers. The doors open and Rod walks inside. He greets the king, Ophelia, and then his sister. He is just about to take his seat when his eyes suddenly fall on me. The shock is apparent on his face. Rod, darling, is something wrong? I, I see there is a new maid on staff. His tone is almost accusatory. Accusatory? I never heard that before. I bristle at his words and am about to say I can't speak anymore. Something when Ophelia speaks. She is Emma's new personal maid, Catherine. Oh God. Rod stares at me for a few moments, his expression unreadable. Eventually, he moves to take his seat. I stand silent and watch the royal family eat their breakfast. The small area is filled with happy conversation. The four of them smile at each other when they speak. It is easy to see how comfortable they are with one another. When I was still here, our meals were always so quiet, but everyone looks so happy now. I bit my lip to will the heavy feeling away. Rod told me that before, but I did not want to believe him. I turned back to the conversation at hand. We have something very important to discuss with you, Emma. Oh? I have brought this up before, but now the matter is more pressing. Is this like about... Yes, this is about the ball. Ophelia gives the king a disapproving look. Dear, I know it seems a strange proposition, but this is royal tradition. Emma is at a suitable marriage age, and the ball may yet help her find a suitor. But a husband? Emma's cheeks are tinted pink. A royal ball for Emma, for her to find a husband. I would never have agreed to such a thing. Rexy, mira. Thank you. I would never I never would have agreed to such a thing. The king never forced me into one because he knew that. What did he know? Because he knew that you wouldn't agree to it. I will not force you to marry someone you do not love, Emma. We agreed on this ball to uphold tradition, and all eligible bachelors will be invited in 4 months' time. You will choose the man you want to court you. I did find my true love through a ball, after all. He glances at Ophelia, who responds with her fond smile. Her expression falls back into something more worried than she looks when she looks at her daughter. But what if I can't choose like anyone? We will throw one brawl as per tradition. We will not force you into another ball if you do not find a good suitor. But we must uphold traditions at least once. Perhaps this will push you to think more about the future. I will not put any added pressure on you, Emma, but I would be happy to see grandchildren before I give up my throne. I am not getting any younger, you know. Oh gosh. Father! I can tell that the king is trying to make light of the situation, but there is an undertone of seriousness. Emma eventually sighs, then slowly nods. I understand. My gaze shifts to Rod to search for a reaction, but his expression is impassive. No reaction at all. Did he know this was going to happen? But can I really be the princess of the kingdom of Agiela deserves? Like I feel so unprepared. You are the crown princess of Agiela. You must be confident. Emma looks down, looking genuinely distressed. I I'm finished. May I be excused? Oh, sweetheart, you've barely touched your food. You may. Emma stands up and ducks into a quick curtsy before rushing from the room. I do not move until I feel Rod's glare at me. I realize that I am meant to follow Emma. Excuse me. I curtsy and follow after Emma. I barely make it a few steps away from the dining hall before the door flies open and Rod is rushing after me. What are you doing here? After him. I'm here to break my curse. You expect me to believe that when you had people offering to help at the Martian? Rod's expression changes, anger clear in his eyes. No, I know why you are really here. What are you talking about? You thought you might take back what is rightfully yours, didn't you? You have no qualms about hurting my family again. I stare at him, nonplussed by his accusation. I carefully quelled the shimmering anger inside of me. The last thing I want is to be fired before I break my curse. I am not here to hurt anyone, so stop accusing me of such things. We glare at each other in silence. Oh, it's purple. Okay. I had always thought that Rod was closed off and quiet, but his emotions are always blazing in his eyes. You shouldn't be here. Rod steps back, but his gaze is still fierce. I do not have time for this. I am going to find Emma. Why? So you can insult her? No, because it is my job to attend to her. Excuse me. The last place I expect to find Emma is in the throne room. Much to my surprise, I find her standing alone inside, staring up at the throne. Oh! When she turns to face me, she has a guilty expression on her face. I'm sorry? What is she apologizing for? I was very rude earlier and walked on everyone eating breakfast. Emma gazes back at the throne and sighs. I'm sure any other girl would be happy to have a ball. I mean, it's like something out of a fairy tale. But she sighs once again and looks down at her clasped hands. It all sounds so perfect in the fairy tales. 3 days is all it takes before everyone finds their true love. But I don't think that's how it works out in the real life, do you? I have nothing to say in response when Emma turns her beseeching gaze to me. I just don't know how I'm supposed to marry someone I barely even know. Is this really what it means to be the crown princess? Isn't this precisely what you wanted? Excuse me? When your mother married the king, you became a princess. You went from rags to riches overnight. I cannot keep the bitterness from my voice when I speak. Your life is playing out like Cinderella's, is it not? All you are missing are the glass slippers, and even then I am sure the king could arrange for a pair. I cannot understand why you are so unhappy. Neither can I. Emma turns away from me to face the throne once more, and in the sun that streams through the window, I see something shining on her cheeks. Is she crying? I am so ungrateful. Catherine, what would you do? What if you were in my place? If you could become the crown princess overnight, Would you go through with the ball? For the sake of like Aguila's tradition? For the sake of your role? I would never do anything so worthless. The king never brought up the subject with me. He most likely knew I would have refused. Emma suddenly pats her cheeks and turns to me, a wiry smile on her face. I could do with like some fresh air. Shall we go to my friend's shop in town? We have only just exited the throne room when Emma stopped short and I almost bumped into her back. Oh, it's Mythos! I forgot what name. I think I gave him like a very slow. Your Highness, what a pleasant. Sir Mythos abruptly stops to stare at me. Why is Sir Mythos looking at me so intently? Is like something the matter, Sir Mythos? No, nothing at all, Your Highness. I am just amused. Amused? Oh, like you haven't met my brand new BFF maid? This is Catherine. Catherine? There is something in Sir Mythos' gaze that I do not trust. The silence is stiffening, so I curtsy at him. Sir? Charming. Sir Mythos turns his attention back to Emma. Where are you off to on this pleasant day? Oh, like going to go to visit my very good friend? Make sure you bring your guards with you, princess. Of like course, duh. I wonder what's like taking him so long. Who? Emma decides to invite Rod to join us on her visit. One of the guards offered to get Rod of for her, but he still has yet to return. Another stands with us by the gates, ready to escort us into town. Why does the king even keep these incompetent fools if they cannot find a single person? Maybe we should like go looking for Rod? But then what if he gets here as soon as we go search for him? I sigh. I will go look for him. You can stay here. But you don't need to run the errand for me. She has yet to ask me to do anything. What does she think a maid even does? I look at her solemnly, not answering her. Finally, she relents. Thank you, Catherine. I inclined my head just slightly before walking off. I feel like a babysitter. I cannot believe that I have to search for Rod. This is only slightly better than being dragged around by that broom. I turn around the corner and nearly bump into someone. I take a few steps back just in time. Princess? Hey, it's you! Fritz, I forgot what voice I gave you. I look up in shock. Fritz's surprise mirrors my own. Where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere. He pauses to stare at my clothing. Oh, you know what voice I should give him? Like more like something between Walt, but like more entertaining. You'll see what I mean. Why are you wearing a maid's uniform? Like that, like a performer. Even though I probably should give that voice to Walt. Hey, who cares? I'm just gonna keep going. Fritz, you remember who I am? I would never forgive you, Princess Catherine. Forgive you, forget you. Sorry. But it does seem like I am the only one who remembers you. What is going on, princess? The only people who remember me are the witches, fairies, and Fritz, are you? I stop when I hear the sound of approaching footsteps. Fritz turns at the sound and then stoops low into a formal bow when he sees Rod. Your Highness! Rod's impassive face twists with annoyance when he sees me. Rod does not even acknowledge Fritz as he walks past him to stop in front of me. Shouldn't you be attending to my sister? I don't understand! Prince Rod, do you know why the princess is dressed like this? Oh. Rod is clearly just as surprised as I am that Fritz remembers me. You recognize her? You remember the princess too? Kudos. But if you knew, why didn't you say anything when you first went missing? And can someone explain to me why she is attending to Princess Emma? This is Fritz. I cut him up before he can ask any more questions. I feel Rod's gaze on my back as I turn to look at Fritz. No more questions. But princess! Right now, I am the palace maid. What? It is a long story, and I have no time to explain now, so do not ask. Fritz is clearly discontent. He seems to be struggling for a few moments before he finally sighs and nods. Yes, Your Highness. Though it is nice to hear someone here speak my title, it will not do if Fritz calls me that on accident. It is just Catherine from now. But I turn to face Rod. Emma is waiting. What? The guards could not even deliver his message. Where are you going? Emma wants to visit her friend's shop in town, and she wants you to go with us, Rod. Town? Or ordinarily, I would not mind Fritz joining us, but right now he might just be an unnecessary company. He may very well just give me away. Rod barely wants to speak with me when it is just the two of us. I doubt Fritz would make him more sociable. I am assuming that accompanying you is not an option at this point. Yes. Fritz looked down for a moment before looking at Rod. I am sorry to speak this of you, Your Highness, but since she refused to let me do so, please look after Princess Catherine in my place. Oh, ridiculous. I do not need to be cuddled. It's okay, girl. Even if I did, Rod couldn't care less if I am hurt. I will do my best, Sir Fitzgerald. Oh, he said yes. I cannot tell if he's being genuine or not. Probably not. Fritz bows to the both of us. Stay safe, Prince Catherine. And you, Your Highness. Rod turns and begins to walk away without another word. Come on. Rod is silent as we make our way back to the palace gates. I am still thinking about what he said to Fritz earlier. Why would Rod agree to Fritz's request? Because he just wanted him to leave? I stare at Rod's back as he walks in front of me. Sometimes I cannot figure out what he is thinking. Rod! Catherine! Emma beams when she catches sight of us. Are you ready? Rod crosses his arms. He does not look very happy with his sister. Even though Rod is younger, I cannot help but think that he often sounds like the older of the two. Maybe it's because of his Batman voice. I am busy, Emma. I can't keep dropping everything whenever you want to leave the palace. I'm sorry, but I really needed some fresh air today. My needs are more important than your needs. You can get plenty of fresh air on the palace grounds. I feel like I need to be off the palace grounds, if you know what I mean. Emma's face drops as she looks down at the ground. Rod lets out an exasperated sigh before stepping inside the carriage. Come on. Rod? Just for an hour, okay? Thank you. You know I'm more important than you are. Just kidding. I'm having way too much fun with Emma's voice. Way too much fun. I soon I soon come to realize that it is easier to walk around town now that everyone has forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the spiteful stares are gone. Princess Emma! Oh, like, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? Emma has responded to most of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emma speaks with the man. A night escort hovers somewhere nearby, watching for disturbances. We are going to take longer than an hour if she continues like this. I'm not going to rush her. Don't you need to return to the palace to continue whatever work it is that you were doing? Rod raises an eyebrow at me. I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. If this makes Emma happy, then I will gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing. Happy? I look more closely at Emma. She is smiling, but then she is always smiling. I do not understand. She's more at ease talking to the townspeople, sometimes because they don't judge her. Why would she have to worry about being judged? It is clear that everyone adores her. Emma takes the man's hand in hers, all she wishes as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture. See that? That's goodness. You could learn something from my sister, Catherine. It's goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers. Catherine, why? Emma eventually says her goodbyes before walking toward a familiar store. This is the toy shop I visited with Emma and Rod before. I glance at Rod, who noticed that the expression on his face. He seems conflicted, but why? Before I can ask, Rod marches in front of me and decisively pushes open the door. Okay. When I enter, Emma is already hugging the shop girl, Vi- Virica. Virica? I'm gonna go with that. Emma, you look as beautiful as ever. Oh, please. I like always look the same. You, on the other hand. Emma steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love, like, suits you? When's, like, the wedding? Because I want to be your, like, maid of honor and everything. Who cares about your sister? I'm more important. Wedding? She is already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eyes and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. Though his expression is as impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders. This seminar and I haven't set a date yet, but it should be soon. Would you, Victoria's, Vero, I'm gonna go with Victoria, trails off when she noticed the rest of us. Oh, hello, Rod. Victoria? His tone is surprisingly static. Last time he was here, I was sure he sounded friendlier. So what can I help you with, Emma? Looking for another doll? Another doll? But Emma's not interested in dolls. Oh, like, no, I just came here to, like, see you. I can't say long since, like, Rod has, like, some things to do, but he knows that I'm more important, so he came. Emma, I'll wait for you outside. Oh, like, okay. I know it is my job to follow Emma around, but I am not at all invested in hearing her talk to this girl. Oh, but we have to stay with Emma because if we don't, Rod's gonna be angry with us. Before I can decide what I want to do, Emma has turned to look at me with a smile. This is like Catherine, my BFF. She just like started working as my personal maid today. It's not like you to make a maid follow you around. Emma's expression quickly becomes apologetic. I'm sorry, Catherine. I realized I didn't even ask you if you wanted to come with us. I just like expected you to tag along because I'm like super duper important and you're like not. Why is she apologizing? I am meant to tend to her regardless of where she is, unless she dismisses me. I'm sure Catherine doesn't mind. It's such a beautiful day today after all. Emma turns to me and smiles. You don't have to like wait for me if you don't want to, Catherine. I won't be like long. I only wanted to see Victoria for a bit. I haven't been able to see her as often since I've moved. Well, that's to be expected. Princess shouldn't be associated with shopgirls like me. Victoria has a point. Why does Emma insist on this? But you're like my best friend. I am still not accustomed to the fact that I can't visit you every day. Those were the good days when we were still neighbors. I'd still live next to you if I like could. Do you remember all the games of tag we used to play together when we were children? Remember how Rod always lost? The two girls laughed together at the shared memory. I tried not to roll my eyes. So they were all childhood friends. Are you sure there's nothing I can help you with? We all turn at the sound of the door chimes as a customer walks in. Excuse me. One moment. Victoria turned to Emma with a guilty expression. I'm so sorry, but I have to take this. Oh, like it's all right. I'll come see you like another time. I promise we can talk for as long as you want next time. Emma smiles and hugs her friend in a farewell. I follow closely behind Emma as she exits the shop. Rod pushes away from the wall that he had been leaning against once he noticed us leaving. Ready to go? Emma nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we returned to the palace, evening has fallen. I hope we're like not late for dinner. The minute the carriage door opens, we are greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcester and Mythos stand before us. I'm doing Princess Emma and Prince Rod. I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mythos informed me of your whereabouts. He glares at the knight's escort, and the knight shrinks back. Sir Alcester turned sharply to me afterward, his eyes narrowed. Why is he looking at me like that? It was getting late, and the queen was worried. I'm like, so sorry. Not really, because I went to go see my best friend. Unlike Kathy, who's also my best friend, but they're both my best friend, if you know what I mean. Princess Emma, Prince Rod, it's almost time for dinner. Please, let me escort you all inside. Sir Method gestures for them to follow him. I am about to follow them when Sir Alcester suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then closes it and shakes his head. You are dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters. But that is in order. His gaze is piercing. Even when I was the princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way back to the room assigned to me. As I walk down the hall, I notice Rod heading in my direction. What do you want, Rod? He suddenly grabs my hand and pulls me away down the hall. Oh gosh, where are you taking me? Rod does not answer and just continues moving until we reach an unfamiliar door. What is going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger on my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling me in through the door with him. Huh, this place. I've heard of this place before, but have never seen it. Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Rod does not answer me. He simply keeps walking, and I see no other option but to trail after him. How is it that you know of this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops and I bump into his back. I stumble back with a scowl. You ask too many questions. For if you didn't know, I'm Batman and I get to do whatever I want. Because you refuse to answer any of them. I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound. Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage. It makes sneaking out of the palace easier. I am the knight. I am the shadow. I am Batman. Parfait. She did not give me any explanation as to how she knew of this place. There's there are only meant to be two copies of the key. The king has one, and Sir Alcester has the other. Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king. I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also has a copy. She saw fit to provide me with a key for my own use. What? How does Parfait have a key to this place? You'll have to ask her that yourself. Once we step into town, I realize that where it is that we are headed. We are going back to the Martian. Delora is the first person we see as soon as we enter the Martian. Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Delora, you. Rod's glare silenced me. He steps forward and points back at me. Gaze icy. She is not staying at the palace. What? What did I do? Delora raises an eyebrow. Why is that? She works there now. I do not know what game you are playing, but I will not be a part of it because I'm Batman. Excuse me, this is not a game. I do not want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers. The room's temperature drops several degrees. Delora stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion. With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you would be able to help her. Rod raises an eyebrow. Where is Lady Parfait? Of course you want to talk Parfait. She puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you. Delora curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated because he doesn't have a voice to put his aggregation. Now that we are alone in the empty room, the silence is deafening. And so I ask him the question that has bothered me since we came here. Oh, go with this one. I don't need to explain myself to you. Do you even know how to break your curse? I do. So why are you not doing anything? That's none of your business. I do not realize the anger inside of me at first, and then I notice that my hands are fists and that I am shaking. You are angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either. Excuse me? I realize that this is the angriest I have felt in a long time, and it makes words fall out of my mouth. You are guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. We are both being cruel to family, aren't we? Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks towards me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line. As you are so fond of telling Emma, we do not share any blood. The only thing pulling us together is the king, and you do not share his morals. Do remember this, Catherine. You will never be a part of my family, and I will never see you as a sister. Rod storms out of the reception area just as Laura enters. Sorry, looks like Parfait wasn't in. She pauses and gives me a wary smile. Seems this partnership's going well. I throw my hands up in anger. He is infuriating. Not as helpful as you thought. I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place. All I have been doing today is following around Emma, and he still finds a reason to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I am making an honest effort to break my curse. Delora eyes me as she slides into a chair. Has he told you anything about his curse? Only that he knows how to break it. Delora sighs. Boys can be so secretive about the silliest thing. Rod has been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning. Then why hasn't he broken it? I have no idea. I think the only person who knows the full terms of his condition of Rod's curse is Parfait. Parfait. Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the Martian even after he gave up on breaking his curse. Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to finding another way to break his curse. Another way? Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk. I doubt that very much. It seems that all I can do is convincing Rod that I do not deserve to break my own curse. Dolora looks at me curiously for a few moments, then she grins. I have an idea. If it is another terrible idea. Oh no, this one's much better. I'll stick around with you. You know, watch out for you. What? Delora, watch over me. Oh gosh, what did he do? I am surprised when Dolores suddenly stands before me in her doll form. There is no way you and Rod are going to sort yourself out without some kind of help, so I'll be tagging along. It's much easier when I am travel size. Why do I feel like she's only making things worse? Come on then. Dolores somehow managed to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body. Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace.